So around that time, so crazy. I know a guy who runs a shop behind the mountain, and it's not a local shop, and it's just behind his mountain city. So every once in a while, he has rough days. It's a terrible day. And he's like, but then at the end of the day, yeah, kind of is. He's down to yeah, used to sell like solve them. I started it. Yeah, it's like yeah, that's right. Kind of makes sense. It's not a real fighter. It's a faux fighter. It's not faux. It's food. Like. Walking myself out of there. I'll go until 3. Doesn't make any sense. Not really.
It's actually like once upon a time
yeah, make him do the clinic with this.
my sister.
Do it with this.
All right.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, see? One thing we're starting now, I was going to use the pink ukulele, but I don't know how to tune it. I'm Howard from Catalinbread Pedals. Who has heard of Catalinbread?
I have.
Quit lying, sir. You were here to. Let's see. How many? Is that before? Yeah. Okay.
I just bought it to paint it.
Oh,
sweet.
Well, nice. Well, cool. Awesome. So there's a few people in the club already. So I brought a few pedals in today. Made a board together. I'm going to strategically the counting pedal and the concept of overdrive is. So that's kind of one of the book discussion around. And what I'll tell Mike is we're putting this together, and we'd already agreed on some of the ones we wanted to have on. But it felt like years ago at Catalinbread, we didn't have the pedals in our product line being put together. So we're all going to have these pedals. I'm sitting there last night like, I can't, there's too many. I have to like, really like that right. So what we got here today is going to be hinged around what that pedal does. A lineup that we call Foundation Overdrive. We have Real Secret, which is Marshall. We have which is based on an old MPEG amp. We have the Formula 5F6 and the Formula number 5, which is a Tweed. They also have what we call the Rel Abacall, which is Jimmy Page's custom high watt that he used to have. And that's about it for now. Yeah, we have some other ones. But anyway, so what do we mean by Foundation Overdrive? It's just a dirt pedal after all. You can just buy it and plug in like a dirt pedal and play. But what we mean by Foundation Overdrive is that it's a dirt pedal that you turn on and you leave it on the entire time. You don't have to. You don't void your warranty. You turn it off during the show or anything. But the design concept and the philosophy is that you get the sound set up, you turn it on, and you leave it on. So whatever you want a clean sound, what do you want to sound? So I'm going to show you a little bit of that. And then you basically base the whole pedal board around that pedal. That's what we're going to kind of explore today together. So I'm going to just kind of do a little dog and pony show and talk about this a little bit. Make a few sounds, but then I'm just going to let's make it interactive. So I'll go through stuff, and then you guys might have a lot of questions, or you want to know more about a specific pedal or whatever. So we'll have a chance to chat. So I brought a guitar. I almost didn't, but I'm just plugging into the storage system here, and kind of a basic kind of amp you would base your foundation around, which is a basic clean sound. And so that's straight into the amp, and sounds okay. It's, but it's kind of maybe a little boring for a lot of stuff, right? You wouldn't want to just rock out with just with that. So what I'm going to do now is turn on the Dirty Little Secret. Actually, let me do something first. A little dry in here, a lot of carpet, and I'm going to go through all the pedals one at a time. But at the very end of the chain, I have a Catalinbread talisman, and that is our plate reverb pedal. And it emulates the great ENT plate reverbs. But what we found is that there's different types of reverbs, chamber and plate, spring, and so forth. The plate reverb is just a great reverb type. You can get sense of space and ambience, and it kind of blends in well with stuff. So I like to use it at the end and just kind of have it on to tune to the rhythm. And there's a talisman out there. And we've got a bunch of controls. You can do really short and long and all kinds of stuff. We'll get into that more later. I'm just kind of setting up now just a basic not dry sound. So I'm not going to use reverb in that. Reverb's great on that, but it's not sure this one. Okay, so now it's actually sounding a little better to me now. Got a little more dimension, but it's still clean. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on Do a Little Secret now. So it's based on a Marshall, and it's got 3 tone knobs, treble, middle, and bass, which is what a Marshall has. And it's not a coincidence because the circuit for the tone controls on the Dirty Little Secret is the exact same circuit as the Marshall. So you know how to use a Marshall and how the treble, mid, and bass controls work. You would know how to use it on DLS. In fact, the pedal itself is essentially an old Marshall preamp, but instead of tubes. You can't really put tubes in the box. We're using a JFEX, which is a type of transistor that's known for tube-like qualities. So anyway, so I got DLS on now, and it's still clean. So what's going on there? What I've got going now is I got the neck pickup on the guitar, and I got the volume rolled back. And that's what we need on foundation pedals. So I can get still with the dirt pedal on, pretty clean sound. Got the bridge pickup here all the way up, and I'll go ahead and flip to that. That's kind of what I mean by foundation. So you don't have to turn it off. And why do you do that? Well, if the way you can just turn it off. There's different ways to get your clean and dirty sounds. You can use a 2-channel amp. You can use an elaborate effects chain with a clean chain and a dirty chain. Some guys run a Fender Twin for the clean sound, Marshall, and that gets pretty elaborate, right? But if you look back at how players in the old days, 60s and the early 70s, ran their rigs, they were using amps that didn't have, like those PVs and stuff over there, where that built-in gain just turns like it's all gained out. You had to crank the amp up to get it to overdrive, and then you turn the guitar down. So you're talking about like Jimmy Page or Clapton or Hendrix or Brian, any of the classic rock guys, that's what they did. They had these big tube amps cranked up, and they would turn the guitar back and do all the clean things. And then when they were doing your leads, you could just turn the guitar up. And then you're back doing your rhythm stuff. So a lot of dirt pedals don't really respond that way, right? A lot of dirt pedals, you turn them on, they're like, you got a nice sound maybe, but you can't do anything from here with it. So that's a design goal that we have on most of our pedals, that we basically respond to the picking attack And so your volume controls on your guitar. You know, how many people like are always fiddling with their controls on guitars just to make sure they're on 10? Right? I used to do that way too. It's like you always see guys playing on. I'm on 11 still, so no, I feel like controls a lot because they give me these different shades, you know. I got just turned down a little bit. I got a little punch sound. So he's a little prince in here, but if you had this, you know, a louder, quiet volume or clean volume, then you can pretty much get the same response as an old Marshall. But how many people have played through 100-watt plexis? It's glorious, isn't it?
120.
What? I used to be over here.
Exactly. And you know, the landscape's different. The soundscape is different now. When you play gigs, you're always like, you can't. Your stage volume's too loud. You know, when you have to monitor it, you will have. So, you know, part of the reason that pedals like this and what we found the need to do them is reality of modern days. Back in the old days, it didn't matter if you're playing a little tiny hut or arena. You just had these giant amps and it was really loud. Yeah, those were the good old days. So now we're in these modern times. So we have to do that, but I really like the response that you get from that. You know, you guys play the plexis, you can just turn down and got a beautiful clean sound. If you're playing a band, you just kind of ride the volume level and get, you know, full-on crunch or just a little bit crunchy. You know, just totally clean. So all I've got on now is Fearless Secret and the Talisman. So that's kind of the basis of this whole setup now. Well, I have the guitar turned down to about 3 on the dial. But I turned the Fearless Secret off now to hear what's really up there. There's no volume. So I can turn it back up. So what we've actually done when we turn the pedal on, this knob now is more powerful. Turn it on, you know, mostly it's useless when you barely crack it on, but now it's actually like you got a volume to work with now. You have more even volume spread, you know. So the volume goes up a little bit, just not the amount you want. And you know, there's lots in between shades. So if you're using like a channel switching amp, you got your clean sound, your dirty sound, but I don't know, when I experiment with those, I always want something in between those, and I could get them. That's too dirty or that's too clean. And what I found with channel switching amps is that you turn your dirty sound on, and all of a sudden you get small, because the clean sound that's loud and punchy takes more than an amp that's got built-in distortion and a equalizer. So what always happens is like you're like got your clean sound going, you switch to your dirty sound. You're getting ready to do that, right? And all of a sudden it's like, okay, you know. So, but there's different approaches. This approach is trying to bring back the old school way of doing things, which is really use the controls on the guitar. I got the gain just a little bit under noon now, and so it can get gainier in film, but I have it set that way on purpose now. So it's more just like a Crank Marshall type crunch sound. Now, if you're using an old Marshall, it's pretty loud and not that dirty, right? I mean, it's got a crunch, but it's not super saturated. So what guys did with the old Marshalls, they would hit boosters in front of them, fuzz pedals, overdrives, or treble boosters. Does anyone know what a treble booster is? You do. Treble booster is not just an EQ with that far right slider turned up. It's a old British device called the Dallas Rangemaster. Familiar with that, anybody? And the Yankees for many years did not know how the Brits got that guitar sound. So we're talking about like Black Sabbath, Tony Iommi, we're talking about Brian May, and Queen, even like T-Rex and Laurie Gallagher, and even all the way up to Judas Priest. In fact, I remember reading a guitar player article a long time ago about Judas Priest. We're going through the years I was reading it, kind of one interest. So, we use Marshalls, I know that. Flying V's, yeah, cool. What are you using to make the sound? You know, they're like, oh, I use this flanger, this and that. And at the very end, almost like kind of an afterthought, he goes, I think it was Glenn Tipton or something. He goes, oh, I use a treble booster too. And I'm kind of like, you know, my young mind was like, why would you want to do that? Just would make it sound sharp and no one's high pitch in your ears, right? The treble boost, but that's what they use. And then I later on realized what we were talking about. It's this very primitive device that's basically a booster. And we would run those in front of the Marshall bass in the 30s and just get that sound. And so we have a pedal called the Naga Viper, right up front right here. And named after the hottest pepper on record as of 2011. Anyway, I had to Google it, and it's like, what's the hottest pepper? The Naga Viper, and you look at it, it's like red and blue. Well, that's a good name for a boost pedal. So if we ever come on a new one, there's a hotter pepper on that. So anyway, so I got the Naga Viper here, and it's based on a Dallas Rangemaster treble booster. They do the classic treble booster sound, but then there's also the Rangemaster originally only had one knob boost. This actually has a gain control called range control, which allows you to set the frequency response. So you can get treble booster sound, or you can get a little more full range. You can kind of dial into your rig. So anyway, let's go ahead and hear, we're going to boost our Marshall, which is this little box here, with the treble booster. I can set the range of it so it can floor sound. So if I set it to the thinnest setting, that's the classic treble booster sound. And it's got that cutting kind of Brian May sound. I'm not going to show off too much today because it's cold. My hands are cold. So I'll let you guys come up and someone can show off for me. When I got turned down to the lowest setting, and you get almost a fuzz sound with it. So that's treble booster. Once I go through these pedals, I'm going to actually, to ruin your ears with little prints at the end of the presentation, I will turn all the pedals off, crank that little guy up, and just boost it with the treble booster to show you what that sounds like. So that would be like the traditional how you would use it, the treble booster. You crank your amp up, Scott needs a little bit more push, so you go ahead and give it a little more push. Just kind of push it over quick. Just watch it go. This gives it more juice and just makes it's real fun to play. It's a real exciting sound. So that's the treble booster into the Marshall now. Oh, okay, let me turn the Marshall off. We'll do it super off. Then you can hear what this guy's doing. So it's kind of a mild boost. It's not really very saturated. So, but with this on, segue into the next thing. So what else? So we're kind of like doing old school here. So what else could people put in front of their Marshalls? Anybody? What are the classic players? EP3. Yeah. Right. Let's try that, huh? So we have a Bill Epoch here, which is the delay pedal that we have based on the EP3, the Maestro Echoplex, which, if you don't know, is black box and handle with a lid, and it's got the tape echo pedal. And pretty much ubiquitous in the 70s. No self-respecting rock guitar player did not have one, especially if they're playing rock with Marshall stuff. They had the EP3. And if you guys hang out on forums too much online, you know that everyone is trying to get that EP3 booster sound now. You want standalone pedals that have that. And there's some brands that actually have that, and they even call it Echoplex, but there's no echoes. It's kind of strange. But so we have a preamp similar to that in here, and we got the tape echo thing here. And so we're going to go ahead and check it out a little bit. So the Echoplex is a tape thing, and you move the slider all the way, and you tie this and this way, and use the longest delay time. And I'm going to start with the longest delay time. I'll show you first. So if you spend time with the EP3, you realize when you turn the slider to the longest delay time, that's what you get. It's about 800 milliseconds. And the reason I play a little Brian May Queen type thing is that when we were working this, I realized, I say this story all the time because it helps you place that long delay time. It's like, why did Brian May pick that delay time for all the solos he did? Because that's as far as I can. Now later on, he had custom ones. Some of the guys around, he made the stretch echoplexes, where I saw him on stage where they're twice as long, so you know. But that's kind of the basis of what he does. I'm going to turn the DLS off for a second so you can hear this kind of, so, today we're talking about how to replicate classic old rigs from the 60s and 70s with pedals into a little tiny amp. You know, they plug their EP3s into the Marshalls, and the Marshalls are connected up and punching. So that's kind of part of the sound. Now if I turn it all the way to the short delay time, then you get kind of, it's kind of cool slap back. Now even with the delay pedal, I can still get my clean sound like we were doing with the foundation. So DLS is always going to give you that if you're using our pedals in front of it. So this emulates the tape echo, and we've got 5 controls here that you got your feedback, and we have one control that sets the amount of wow and flutter. It's kind of like random tape spinning around, and it's not quite, you know, there were mechanical devices, they weren't that precise back in the day. And I think, you know, that's why they came out with digital delays and pedals and stuff, because they're trying to make it better. Like, well, it keeps warbling and stuff, and then you kind of go to today and say, yeah, but that was cool. And so we tried to like make a modern pedal that's got reliability, and you don't have to clean the heads and affordable amount of stuff. It still has some of the character of those old Echoplexes. So, when you listen to repeats, you can kind of hear the tape stretch a little bit and stuff. I'm a little more severe on this, so you can make your tape more worn out. You can kind of hear it just shifting a little bit. It's somewhat random, so depending on when you plug it in, it may feel different, and that's because real Echoplexes do that. Depending on the temperature, humidity, and whether the moon is void, of course, or not. I think it's an astrology involved, but I'm not sure. Jimmy Page used the Echoplex a lot with the violin bow. And he had said actually pretty basic, like one repeat and. Okay, what else did you do with Echoplexes? You had fun with it. You didn't have to play the guitar. You can just make spaceship sounds. That was important for us to be able to do that too. So if you're here and you don't play guitar, you should find out big pop anyway. You just have fun anyway. So that's like, what you did with it when Tommy Bolin did that stuff a lot. And Jimmy Page did a little bit too. But it's just fun. It's a good way to, end a song or begin a song or just do something in the middle that just make noise for a minute, right? So it can get pretty radical, or you get a little subtle. You have like a record level and mix control. So, most of the time, as fun as it is, when I use it, I'm not doing spaceship sounds. I'm just making it just so it has a little bit of, still sloppy. Like that's, something a little subtle. But you can turn the record level up on it and give it a little harder to mix and use it as like a rhythmic device too. Of course, without it, all I'm doing is this. So, you can practice the scales. I do that sometimes. I'm practicing scales, and I'll turn this on because this makes it more epic too. So that's our belt epoch. That's our takeaway into the real secret. What else do we have on here? We have a couple pretty new pedals. We have the Katzenkönig. You want to speak German around here? Katzenkönig, what does that mean? It's, stuff you order, Cat King. And Katzenkönig is a distortion pedal that's half tone bender Mark II fuzz and half rat. Everyone's familiar with the rat pedal, right? Coco rat. Everyone's familiar with the tone bender Mark II, right? You've always wished you could have them in the same pedal, right? Wrong. Because I never even thought that. I was messing around the breadboard one day and it was almost like a joke. It's like, okay, I got a tone bender Mark II pedal. What if I put the end of the circuit of the rat on there? It's going to sound like crap. It's going to be just completely distorted. gross. And that wasn't the case. I was like, oh, this is not good. And so henceforth it became a thing. It became a pedal. So we're really happy with this one. And I'm going to turn the journal secret off for a minute just to show you stuff. So it's got a filter control, just like the tone knob filter on the Rat. Then it's got a gain and input control, which is controlling the gain on the tone bender part of it. So it's really like a cross between a Rat distortion and a tone bender fuzz. And you can set it. So here's the pedal. I forgot my riffs. Oh yeah. Got tone control. Real handy for it's exactly the tone control for a Rat. It just sounds better to me because it's except for the tone bender for the Rat. This amp's a little darker, so I am saying the filter a little hotter. So that's like in distortion mode. I'm going to turn some controls up and get to more of a fuzz type character. Kind of like it's almost smashing amp kind of fuzz tone of it. Or you can back it off and get it really tight or get it in tune. It's my favorite pedal to play when I'm trying to like just jam out late at night, not bother the upstairs roommates. Because you can get a nice singing tone at a pretty low level with it. And make it kind of okay, because unless I'm practicing home stuff, I'm actually practicing rock stuff. You can get it rolled down there and just, it doesn't sound like much in here. You know how it is when you're trying not to wake the kids and the wife or whatever, or the cats in that case. At midnight, that sounds really loud in the house. Right now, it's like, well, turn it up. Now I'm going to go ahead and, so that's by itself. It's pretty cool by itself. I'm going to turn the DLS back on. Go ahead and boost it now with the Catalinbread and use that as like an overdrive into the virtual Marshall. So that's the Catalinbread, Distortion and DLS. So once again, the DLS is on most of the time here, and we're just doing this palette. So even with the distortion pedal on, up all the way, and it's so noisy because it's like hard fuzz pedal, and basically you step it on, it means you're trying to rock out. So, but it will respond to volume knob a little bit too. And obviously not as much as DLS by itself, but when you're turning it on, you're going for something else. So I'm going to go ahead and step on this now. This is the valve coder, and this is based on old school tremolos built into amps that suit those with old valve coder amps. And I have this real nice choppy sound that we associate that sound with Down by the Seaside is like that thing. I haven't played it in ages, that's why I played it. But anyway, it's got that real quick percussive sound. and uses a booster pedal into your Marshall. So, which is pretty cool. Brian had a shot. Did Brian show up today? Brian's not here to defend himself, so I'm going to go ahead and talk anyway. You know, most of you get a tremolo pedal, you don't expect to be able to tremolo, but we're really into the signal pads, pedals, gain structure. So, and also, you know, how many songs you use tremolo on? Maybe not every song, unless you're a particular kind of band. But you know, there's probably a couple songs here and there you want to use tremolo on. But you have this pedal that's sitting there otherwise that could be doing something useful. So we need to do something useful. You turn the depth off, stop tremoloing, and you can use it to boost. It's a more subtle boost, but if you're playing a guitar, it just gives you just that much more little push, you know, to. Of course, you can start using the trem again. So it's really cool. Just without the DLS, clean. It's real old school kind of thing. Of course, I could do the same thing with DLS, just turn the guitar down. So, got a couple more I'm going to go through here. And I brought a few that I didn't pick up, but if you guys are curious, we can chat about that afterwards. We can check them out. We can talk about it. We just released, was it this week, last week? Monday. So you guys were the first to, there it is, this little green. You guys in the back, can you even see the things? You know, you guys can scoot forward or come gather around. You know, we don't have to be too formal here. You can just come stand around here if you want. It's called the Adineko, and it's based on old oil can echo units. Anyone heard that term, oil cans already? So it's a weird old funky thing from the 60s by the Tel-Ray company, which became Morley. They were called Tel-Ray because Ray was the boss. Hey, this is pretty cool, go tell Ray about this. And I guess Morley meant Morley as opposed to Leslie. So that's where those guys, I guess, had fun. So we try to have fun too. We come up with weird names for those. But the Adineko is actually, what do we call this one? And oil can delay is, it's like 3 effects in one. It's got this delay, it's got this kind of reverb, and it's got this swirl. And it wasn't really intentional, maybe. Oil can delays have this little can oil, like a little platter spin around, just pick up and record it, and just spin around with oil. Actually, it's on the side, so it fits. So, depending on the viscosity of the oil, it would change the sound. And that's not really that good if you want to be able to get that sound. In fact, we have a bunch of gold units shot that we use to model this thing. Just earlier this week, I just played one, plugged one in again. It was a cold day in the office. I turned it on, and it was like, whoa, whoa. It was completely like detuning and stuff. I'm like, whoa, never heard do this before. 5 minutes later, it started selling this shimmery kind of spinning sound. So I kind of like it because it reminds me of me. I don't just wake up in the morning and start spinning and shimmering. I wake up kind of like, you know. So it kind of has this human thing, you know. But we tried to like we tried to make it predictable, but give you all the fun of the original oil can links, you know, we have echoes. So I'm going to go and turn the DLS off for a second. This is here only the Adineko. So we've got that on now. Short one and long one. You can kind of hear this. Like a stagger. I'm going to to turn the reverb part of it off, you can hear that. So it's two repeats come back to you. And with balance knobs, you can hear only the short one, and here's the long one. So you can use like a normal delay if you want, but there's no fun in that. It's more fun to kind of get this weird staggered. Now the original oil can echoes only had one delay or two, short and long, but you couldn't make it longer or shorter because the can just rotated at a fixed speed, and they didn't figure out how to make it faster. I think they did in one that was great. They actually tried to slow it down. Anyway, since there's not really a can of oil in there, actually, the circuit, emulating that, we can take a little bit of liberty and make the delay time longer that the original ones couldn't do. And you end up with some really cool things you can do because of that. And plus, you can hear what's going on with the now I'm going to turn the reverb on, which is a regenerative feedback reverb. It takes the delay signal and feeds it back. And what you hear it doing is, let's speed back up again. That sound of it, that's what the O-Can did. It wasn't like a clean repeat, you know, or like the go E part, it kind of just smears in this weird fog. And it almost oscillates. And so you hear that warble, that's kind of long that's spinning around. So then when I said when it was cold, you can actually make it sound kind of like that if you want. But I normally try to set it so you get a nice shimmer out of it. So it's like... Now if I spin the can faster, start off things, so you back off the reverb a little bit, and what you're going to hear is the delay time is shorter, and it also spins faster, so the warp is faster. So I'm going to slow the oil pan down, and it'll take longer for the repeats to get back, and then the warble will be slow too. And we can go all the way to like, I don't know, a second or something like that. So you definitely cannot do that with a roll can. This is pretty cool that you can actually do this. And you can kind of isolate different elements. You set the rate time. You know, if you only want a vibrato style, you can do that. You know, I like it just to have all three of the elements, reverb and the warble and the two delays at the same time. You just get this magic. That's mostly just the vibrato part of it now. But, like I said, the classic sound is kind of like that. That's actually classic version. I want to invite the Marshall back in the equation here. Input, but it came out really cool. We're pretty fired up on it. So it kind of almost replaces, like, you know, chorus pedal and a dry pedal and reverb pedal in some ways, but with its own kind of flavor. Oh, do anyone know that piece I just played before, by the way?
I've heard it before, but I don't remember.
It's Ennio Morricone, spaghetti western stuff.
Yes.
It's off Once Upon a Time in the West. I wasn't into spaghetti westerns until I started working on pedals that kind of went in the direction. Now I just love the hell out of spaghetti westerns. And the music is amazing, though. And Morricone, the composer that did all pieces. What's that? The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, yeah. I mean, all the Clint Eastwood stuff, and then there's the Henry Fonda one, and yeah, it's just amazing, right? So what I got here, is I got the Marshall one and Adineko. So kind of what I have for these flavors on this pedal board is I have a Talisman, I want more of a basic, just a little bit of reverb. And then I want to do something really textural and ambient. So you can have both on too. But I've got those after the virtual amp. You know, there's one left. There's one pedal I hooked up left to play. So I'm just going to take this opportunity because when I put together a pedal board, I like to make it so that you can turn everything on it and actually makes musical sense. You may not do it very much, but you can actually do it because some pedal boards you put together right. I can get this sound with these combinations. But I'll turn them all on. You know, that's it. Clusterfuck C. This might be a happy clusterfuck. Let's see. I'm going to just start turning them all on now. The last thing I'm going to turn on is our 0 point, which is our tape flanger emulator. And now everyone's familiar with flanger pedals, the Van Halen thing, all that stuff. But you know, back in the old days, flanging was 2 tape decks with the same song, same tracks on them, synced up and then playing, and then you would put your thumb on the what of the reel, the flange of the reel, and slow it down and let it speed up. And that's why it's called flanging, in case you were wondering. So the 0 point, you can see it back here, it's this black and white pedal. It's got no knobs on it. It's got 2 stomp switches. One turns it on and off, and one is your virtual thumb. So what we try to do is model the behavior of 2 tape decks spinning, and you're going to just get that phase cancellation and sweeping it out. So one thing you get from that is it's not predictable, like a typical flanger. It's like, it gets kind of old. It's fun at first, and it gets kind of old after a while. But okay, enough flangers, bro. You know, definitely don't want to turn on the whole song. So this actually makes it easier to just use it as an accent, and I think it helps kind of give it, I don't know, maybe it gives it a fresh, takes a tired concept of flanger and maybe it gives you a fresh perspective. Certainly doesn't make you overuse it. Although you could just press on it all day, all night, which is fun too.
The Groundhogs did an album.
What's that?
The Groundhogs did a Groundhog.
Excuse me?
The Groundhogs. They did an album. The entire album was flanged.
Oh, really?
Start to finish.
In a good way or a bad way?
It's pretty good. You know, a guy called Tony McPhee, the entire album.
Yeah, I guess they don't make drugs like that anymore, because I don't know. There's one song that I heard recently, a super session with Mike Bloomfield and Steven Stills. Yeah, and there's one song on there which, if you listen to the song, it's like, it's not really a flange song, but they decided to flange the entire song from start to beginning. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, they were smoking something good in the control room that day. Decided to do that. But anyway, I'm going to just start stepping on pedals here and see if it gets too ridiculous to this. So I'm going to hit the 0 point last and flange everything. how it works with everything on. You know, you could do that. I mean, it definitely makes it just like you just kind of the notes will take off. But so you kind of hear what the 0 point's doing. It's on towards the end. The only thing I have after is the plate reverb, just so it gives the whole thing the wrapper. I'll just give a little basic demo of it now. Only a DLS on and the reverb on. Now you can just leave it on and not press the button, the flash, because when you have two tape decks going, they're never perfectly in sync anyway, so you're going to get a little bit of movement. So that's what you get when you turn it on. Step on the flash button and you're like slowing one down. So good accent for passages. Definitely not the bread and butter pedal, but it's a good icing pedal. So that's the run through of the pedals I have on here now. And so that's the idea, though, that take one of our foundation pedals and have it always on, get a clean sound, get a crunch sound, boost it, and add ambience and stuff. And pretty much you can build a huge palette and do all kinds of music with it. Real subtle and clean. You do the blues numbers. All the way to the rocky stuff. Just messing with these controls, So you want to make sure you have good pots in there. They're crackly and bad tapers and stuff like that. It does rely on having decent pots and stuff in there. But that way you just get full into it. So, I brought along a couple of pedals here. I don't know how much time we have or how much you guys want to do, but I don't know. Let's just open up and got any questions or comments or anything. So what pedal do you want us to make next? Or what's the beginning?
What about a WIM copycat?
A WIM copycat. That's actually, yeah.
Because that's what Brian needed.
He used EP3 then WIM copy. I think he used
And he
a
took a
variety.
feed off of the sampler.
Yeah.
Yes, the sampler amplifier.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't have one with shock. But that is a cool thing.
Never pieces of garbage. Never worked for it.
Well, the oil cans were a piece of garbage too. All the oil cans we have, if you plug in the oil can and you touch your guitar and touch the metal on it, you will get shocked.
Yes, you will.
And I always forget every time, like, I gotta plug in the oil can and check it out. When we're tuning the and echo. It's just, oh, man.
Yeah, I used to use WIM copycat. I probably got half a song on it. Every gig in the mixed.
It would seize up.
And just break the tape or just...
Well, even like the Echoplex were high maintenance too. In fact, can I name drop? I'll go ahead and name drop. I know Scott wants to name drop. You guys know who Eric Johnson is. And you guys know his reputation for being really, really picky in particular about his gear, right? All the vintage gear and old modules, spinners, and Echoplexes. He's been using EP3 Echoplexes for decades. As long as I've known about him, he's been using Echoplexes, part of his main sound. For the preamp in it and for the just tape sound. And he's not using Echoplexes anymore. He's actually switched over to using Audio Econ. And we were really humbled and honored when he did that because, we have a few people out there using their stuff that are pros playing arena stuff. But when Eric Johnson says, "Hey, I'm going to retire my Echoplexes, use your little pedal instead," we were like, "Wow, okay, that's pretty cool." So he's actually bought 5 or 6 from us. He insists on paying for them. He's that kind of bro. He's not just doing it for free. He just generally likes it. He feels like it does the Echoplex thing, but it's any maintenance issues. In fact, one time he had called me to order more, and And he said, hey, it's really great job, guys, in this process stuff. It's working really good. I'd like to order some more from you guys to play some of the chords. I sort of joked at him. I go, oh, well, that's going to put the tech out of a job because Echoplex is going to continue anymore. And he kind of chuckled. He said, guess what my tech's doing right now? He's rebuilding one of his Echoplexes. So, see, he's going to be out of a job by the time we ship you some more pedals. Anyway, so that's pretty cool. It does the job well enough that he's using it instead. So, any more? What else do we got to talk about today? The single path? Okay, so the drill secret's in the middle. And kind of. I had to put the 0 point down here just so you could get access to this. But basically, the first thing I hit is the treble booster, and then the Valkyrie Tremolo, and then the consequent distortion fuzz. And then I got the belt epoch running into the just like you would plug EP3 into it. Now you can run it either way, and we have a YouTube feed, so I talk about a lot of these things. In fact, if you do watch YouTube feeds, you've already heard me say all this stuff. But I have one video where I talk about you want to put your belt epoch in front of your dirt pedal or after. Most people, conventional listeners, you put it after. And you can do that too. In fact, I had to add an echo after. But the belt epoch, to make it really the most EP3-like kind of experience, you put it in front of your secret Marshall, and you get that saturation sound of the tape. Not only saturating, it's only putting the tubes in it. That's a big part of it, that classic Echoplex sound. So basically, these four are in front in order, you can see. And then it hits the real secret. And then it goes into the oil pan. And then it hits the 0 point before hitting the reverb. So I have the reverb, the plate reverb as the very last thing. It just kind of just wraps the whole thing in my space. And I didn't talk too much about this on the mat so far, but and also it's got a discrete preamp in it, and you can actually control the output level of it. It's just a tad quieter than your normal signal to a pretty good boost. So you can actually use it as an S ride for the entire cold chain if you have it on. So and it can do really long delay time too. Longer than a real plate would do. In fact, you can do almost infinite reverb time. So there's actually quite a bit of range on that thing. But once again, it's like a lot of times I'll just use it just so it's not dry. I don't know about you guys, but if you're in a carpeted room like my house, it's really hard to play with no bounce back at all, especially if you're sitting in front of speakers. It's like, I actually feel like I play worse, So it's useful for that, If you're playing a really live water hall, a film like this may not, unless you're using a super long decay time as an effect, you wouldn't need to be playing a room that's basically got the room. Anyway, it's pretty, that's why I put it on the, so I have to find director for that. Yeah.
So on the 0 point this expression button, does it have a certain depth on it? Like if you hold it forever, will it keep dropping? How does that work?
Yeah, it's not Unfortunately, it's not pressure sensitive like your new iPhone 6s, where it's force touch. But basically, as long as you hold it, it's like pressing it down and it'll keep sweeping through and let go. But I can say there's two modes in the pedal. I mean, there's a subtractive and additive mode. So stock, it's an additive mode. So it's called 0 point because it's a concept of free zero flanging, which means they will eventually just phase cancel each other out. And you hear that like in Hendrix stuff, right? At the end of Love, where the whole band came flash and kind of, and it almost disappears into the ether and then it comes back. Real surgical kind of a sound. So stock mode, it's an additive mode. Kind of get in tune. You kind of tap your foot to it, or like I want to let it ride for a while, or I'm just gonna like kind of pump it. I think it's cool because it doesn't do this predictable thing. Make the audience go, God, it's supposed to be in a band. The flanging, like past the 45-second license for flanging, so it keeps moving around. I'll show you the subtractive mode real quick. You basically pull the power on it and hold down this button, the flange button, and then it powers up with a different color LED. And now you're in the subtractive mode, which will basically eventually disappear. Let's see the that castle flanging, So I like to make it go into almost gone, and then you let it whoosh back. So if you practice it enough, you can kind of work it in, and then you can kind of accentuate whatever you want together. So that's that.
You talked about spaghetti western and stuff. Have you guys ever mulled over the idea of like a magnetone vibrato?
Yeah. We have.
Is it just too vanilla?
Actually, I think it's pretty cool. I would agree with you. That's a cool sound. No, I'm not going to dispute that at all. If we were, I guess I couldn't tell you right now. I'm sworn to secrecy. So Edward Snowden will tell you exactly what we're working on when you go home and look it up. But so we may or may not be working on something like that. But I will say that we love the old gadgets. There's just so much mojo in old stuff, I mean, from string reverbs, tape delays, and oil cans, and magnetones, and copycats, and old fuzzes, and old amps. So it's kind of weird. We have a lot of old here in brand new form. Tape flanging. We're trying to go back to the way it was originally done. Tremolo boosters, the way it was originally done. So I guess that's one thing we do. We do other things that are kind of a little bit crazier too. We got time. Are you guys bailing now? Want to hear one more crazy thing?
Yeah. Anticon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's not a plain pedal. It actually has 16 on it. Black on black. I know, right? This is the Anticon. Anticon is, and I won't give as long a spiel as I did at NAMM in the video. But Anticon means the counter Earth, another world. I guess in the old days, the Greeks or whatever, definitely pre-Newton and Galileo, they had this theory that the Earth is counterbalanced by another world. You can never see because it's always opposite, the anti-clock. And so that's what we named it after, because this thing seems to obey it like physics in a different world or something. It's a different thing, and it does follow our philosophy of use your controls on your guitar and do some cool stuff with it. So a lot of the pedals we kind of consider like, well, how many knobs do we do a secret? We've got 5 plus the 4 here and switch, because circuits kind of get married when they react to it. This one definitely does one hooks up to your guitar as well. So I'm playing that up front, and it really is. This definitely is a front pedal. And the knobs are labeled gravity, space, and tag. And then there's what did I call that one? Volume, I guess, is a volume of space there. So it's still in that metaphor. Now, why did I give it such lame names that no one knows what you do instead of rate, gain, and all the normal things? Because depending on where a certain knob is set, the other knobs do different things. So what is it? If you were to like classify it, the musician's friend catalog, which I don't know where to put it, but is it a fuzz? Is it a delay? Is it a tremolo pedal? Is it
Yes.
exactly right? Yes. So
The DLS is down.
thank you. You saw me do that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get kind of my normal Marshall reverb sound. So one thing it does is the fuzz tremolo thing. It's different than the valve coder, and I'll show you why now. So this knob right here. Turn the guitar down. I can change the rate if you're hearing a tremolo sound. Go faster. Slower. Now I can make it stop. Now it's like this fuzz booster. You basically have to learn how to play it. So you notice I turned the guitar away and I didn't trem, but if I hold it, it will start tremming. So you can like play rhythm through it, Or you can speed up the process by just manipulating the controller. I put in more swirl at the end of it. That's one thing it does. Speaking of good pots, I have to replace the pots. you can change the range of that tremolo sound with the knobs. Now I can actually make it somewhat normal sounding too, and use it like a fuzz booster. The one knob I have to touch is the gravity knob. And I'm going to invite Adineko back in here. So the gravity knob turns this thing into a whole different piece altogether. And it's a whole new context. So, basically it makes a hell of noise. And you can find a way to weave it into your musical narratives. Experimental music people will love this thing. In fact, we had people that showed up at NAMM. Were pretty enamored with it. Got a name drop again, Scott. Damn it, here I go again.
Yeah.
But we had Adrian Blue show up, and he's like, I want that. And any summers for the police, he was all into it. And we had Reeds McGraws with the Bowie and Two Machine. And a bunch of others. So it definitely kind of captured a lot of people's attention. I need to catch up. We need to catch up with Reeves to see if Reeves actually recorded them. But who's the other early guy that did demo? David Torrens or something too. It's not completely predictable, and you can do different things with it, and you have to look for it. It reacts differently with different guitars. But so right now I'm going to try to find the sub bass sound out of it. No, I never made it do that before. It does it every time. If any of you like to go down to the local blues club and sing, everyone I knew, right? Okay, we're gonna do a B.B. King song, Long Live B.B. King. I think as someone once said, what's that pedal you got there? Well, that's the sound of unemployment. That's if you're, obviously it's musical context, but it's pretty fun.
Does it have to be the very first one that changes you that?
In order for it to react with the guitar, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it might in some other cases, but in general, it basically the impedance and the changes going on here is directly affecting that. So if I turn the gravity knob back off, then I get like a tremolo sound, like a very, and we're like. And if you spend time with it, it's like, and that's why it's called Adineko. You kind of like enter a different universe, musical universe. Everything works differently. This used to be a volume control. Now it's like a tremolo rate control oscillation thing. And It used to be volume. It used to have V on it. Now it says N for noise or crazy noise, you know. Or E for epic. I'm not sure. What does it say on it? It doesn't really say anything. So a copy. I guess. That's the Adineko. It's pretty fun. So that definitely is not harkening back to any old tech. It's not a way I'm copycat or anything like that. So we try to kind of go in both directions, you know, with what we do. But anyway, we have other pedals in our lineup, so.
Do you use any of your pedals at the 18 volt, or just always 9?
I actually have the DLS today running at about 14 and 16 volts right now. So most of our pedals will go 9 to 18, with certain exceptions. But I will say, like with the foundation pedal, it's real secret. If you go 9 volts, then it's a softer sound, saturates earlier, and obviously it's a little quieter. And when you go 18 volts, so you punch you a little bit more headroom. Really, to me, it's the difference between a 50-watt Marshall and a 100-watt Marshall. So you can almost get that, you know, in 9 to 18 volts. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, just curious if you have preferences, I guess. You always run this one, like the Amplifon, you always run at 9 or 18. Why would you?
The Adineko, you know, I like to run on a battery. But that's fuzz pedals and stuff like that. I don't like the way the battery feels.
Like carbon.
Normally carbon, you know, like dollar store kind of battery. But I would say like the amp in the box, the foundation pedals, you know, sometimes 18 is what you want, you know. You're playing in a gig with it, and well, no, I'll just. Here's the very little secret at 9 volts. And I'll just go ahead and rack it up to 18. I'll had it at 16 before. But 18. I don't hear much difference here, and we're kind of, you know, that amp only has so much headroom for a room like that. But into a twin reverb, you definitely get a huge kick in the punch, you know. But mostly the feel is a little different. I would think in general, 9 volts is fine for almost everything. It's got a little more saturation, you know. A lot of times you're using that, you're trying to keep a lid on your volume too. So I guess there's not a categorical, oh, this pedal has to be 18 versus 9. Kind of depends.
I was just going to say, a lot of times when customers ask me about what would you like to do,
This is Mike. This is our customer service guy, by the way.
Mike, lots of times customers will ask me, like, well, what do you prefer? And it's really, what are you trying to accomplish? Because the way we choose to approach the power supply section of our pedals is that we want them to be responsive as well. Lots of times a company just a way to power the pedal, and there's not a lot more thought put into it other than that. But for instance, the difference between say 9 volts and 18 volts on a delay pedal like the Bell Top is actually pretty dramatic.
Yeah, actually it is. I'm already at 9 today here.
The 9 volt, those subsequent repeats, they're rounder, they're a little more burnished and sort of creamier and things like that. When you power the Bell Top with 18 volts for you to sample, those repeats become actually very percussive.
It's more like a new tape versus an older tape.
Yeah. And you can almost, for instance, if you're playing one of the dirt pedals, you may not necessarily, what I was trying to say is that even into a smaller amp like that Princeton, you may not get much of a difference in terms of output level, but you will feel it at your pick. It's a question of how fast that attack is.
It's a feel thing. Yeah.
It's kind of cool. I mean, sometimes it's a subtle thing, but there's always a difference.
But that's one thing we
some
pay
of them
attention
are more
to.
dramatic.
Is the feel, because, you know, I'm going to be honest, if you're playing a little show somewhere, that's the context I'm about, no one's going to go, oh man, he's using that pedal with 9 volts, what the hell is he doing, you know? Or he's even using a different brand, you don't know, you know? It's really important to the guy playing, though. because it makes you play better. It just feels more natural for you. You don't fight the guitar as much, the rig. You know, so we do little things to try to just help you out in that way. Just, you know, we're all guitar players, like, you know, I need all the help I can get. So, you know, it's like, let's get the gear so it's not, you're not fighting it, you know.
Yeah.
Unless it's like Attic Fun where you're trying to fight it, you know. When people fight with you.
Sometimes too, it's sort of a style thing. If you're more of a lyrical, legato type player, 9 volts probably feels better to you than 18 does because it's stiffer and faster and less compression and it's less forgiving. It has a little bit less sing to it when you're playing it at 18. So if you were children, you want 18 volts, it's fast response.
Yeah, you're just doing a lot of doing all that kind of stuff. Now, Eric Johnson was using his belly box at 9 volts. Last I heard from him, which is months ago now, he called, texted me, hey, can I run this at 18? Well, yeah, you can. I told him, and I asked him to promise me to tell me what he thought, and he was like, so you don't know. It doesn't really matter anyway. Like you said, you know, if you explore our pedals, that's definitely one of the parameters that you can mess with just to make it, you know, better. It does up the volume, not hearing it too much with Princeton, you know, but you're using a bigger amp, different situation, sometimes it's dramatic. Now if you're at home, and you're trying to do the thing, I want to like get a nice tone and maxing or everything like up. That difference between 9 and 18 all of a sudden becomes epic. Well, we don't even notice here at all. It becomes epic. But yeah, it's a feel thing and a tone volume thing. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. Anybody want to
Are
try?
we done?
Anybody want to try something?
Yeah, does anyone want to try something? Like I said, my hands were kind of cold, so I, anyone want to warm their hands up? Or ask, or you, if you just want to come up and ask questions, because you know, you don't do it from the chair.
With the wood pedals?
Oh, Toast is our neighbor office at work, and they do instructing cell phone stuff. So yeah, we had a run of Bell Epochs made with the bamboo on the bamboo bells. And now, go ahead, Scott.
Now we've got this abracadabra with an wood ash.
As you can see here, this is not the ash one.